Hi, good afternoon. My name is Frederico and I'm here representing AdaptTech, a biomedical company that develops technologies to help people with physical limitations to live a better life. And today I would like to start by telling you a brief story. It's the story of Hugo. Hugo was only 11 years old when he lost his left leg due to a tumor. And by then he tried to get a prosthetic limb, but the process of fitting was so painful that he decided to go on wearing crutches. It was not until 16 years later that he decided to try again, and this time he succeeded, but he realized that the technology evolution had not solved the fitting process yet. Unfortunately, like Hugo, there are other 6.5 million lower limb amputees in the most developed countries. And actually, this number is expected to double in the next 30 years. And this is mainly related to the peripheral vascular disease, mainly connected to diabetes. So, why is this fitting process such a problem? When a person loses his leg, it gets amputated, it is assigned to a prosthetic center. There, a technician will measure the stump, will do a cast mold of the stump, work manually on that mold until it reaches an initial socket. That socket will then be tried on by the amputee, and based on the observations of the technician and on the complaints of the amputee, it will finally reach a final acceptable prosthesis, like this one here, formed by the socket, the knee, the connector, and the foot. The problem is that 1 month later, the amputee will no longer be fitted to his prosthesis due to the muscular changes in the stump. So he will be back to the prosthetic center. The technician will once again observe. He will work on the prosthesis, will observe an ear from the amputee, work on the prosthesis, and this will need to be repeated over and over again until he finally reaches an acceptable fitting. So the problem is this trial and error methodology, which has a high time to comfort period that will then translate to higher costs. So how can we solve this problem? We can actually solve this problem by using Marathon, a smart fitting solution, which is our product. Marathon will come up when the amputee reaches the initial socket, or when he already has a socket, and with the use of our 3D laser system, the 3D laser scanner, we will do the mapping of the inside of the socket, and then the amputee will wear a sock full with sensor, pressure and temperature sensors during the gait gathering data. This data will then be analyzed, processed and represented in the previously gathered model, reaching a model like this where the high pressure zones are pointed out and the main problems are identified, and also suggesting the modifications to the technician. So then he can work on the socket and reach and maximize fitting. So we are eliminating the trial and error cycle and reducing the fitting process to just 2 steps. We are, with this, aiming for a reduction on the time of fitting of 60%, and also we are able to reduce the number of fittings by 40%. And if we look at the combined value of these 2 benefits, we can see that our accumulated time spent in fitting is much smaller than by the current method. So we have quantified that our total market, which is the total amount spent in the most developed countries by year in the socket fitting, is $16 billion US. Our addressable market would be that same amount, but only for Europe, Canada and USA, the markets that we intend to enter, of $13.6 billion, and we have a served market which will consist on the potential cost savings that we can produce of $2.4 billion US. In order to reach this market, our customers will be the prosthetic centers and the physical rehabilitation centers. And to get to them, our main activities will be the R&D to keep developing improving our product and developing new solutions, the assembly of the actual system that we will sell, and the analysis of the data that we are acquiring and the processing of that data. To get our revenue, we will initially provide an initial package, which is Marathon, composed by the hardware, the training of the technician, and the setup of the system, and then we will have an annual usage fee to work with the system. We also have the sensors, which are heavy duty parts that will need to be replaced because they will get broken over time. By analyzing our competition, we can see that our main competitors is the current method and the ProsFit fitting solution. We have an advantage in the time of fitting procedure and in the number of fittings. When considering the ProsFit fitting solution, as they are also using 3D CAM solutions, they are able to reduce the time of fitting, but they are not able to reduce the number of fitting procedures because they are not considering the dynamic data in the stump socket interface. With these competitive advantages and with our business model, we are aiming to reach a 17 million euro revenue on the 5th year after entry the market. And for this, so far we have spent 200K to develop an alpha prototype and do the initial trials. We will now need go for a round of 300K to do the beta prototype and further trials. And then we will need a 4 million investment to reach the final product, go for the needed certifications, IP, scale up the production, so by 2018 we can enter the proposed market. Here you can see our team. On top we have the researchers, 2 biomedical engineers, 1 a PhD and 1 mechanical engineer. Down on the left we have our MBA students with over 30 years of accumulated experience on the market. And down on the right we have our mentors with over 50 years of accumulated experience on the market. To wrap up the presentation, for prosthesis technicians that take a lot of time to properly fit a prosthesis, Marathon by AdaptTech is a smart fitting solution that aims to reduce the number of fittings by 40% and the time of fitting by 60%. Unlike the current slow-paced trial and error method, Marathon speeds up the process, reduces the costs, and increases the adaptation. Thank you.